This is us already
Exactly.
discussing this. Yeah.
We're
So
in
I
the
mean,
thing right now.
we're in the thing right now, and this is probably going to be a different episode for anyone. You know what? Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the dumbest timeline. This was probably a little different of a start off. Who knows if you even heard the music this week? Because this one we already started having the conversation before I hit record, but I felt like let's just hit record and continue with the conversation. Has anyone else been feeling that the vibes are just off this November? This is just the first. I was just saying to Ace once again, or I say once again because you guys didn't even see it. Ace and I have actually
Yeah.
had an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Great conversation. One of my favorites. We talked about low vibration plates and silliness and the reason that black culture has blurs in it and
Yep.
we talked about Barbies and Transformers, all the things that you would think, "Oh my god, Brian, this is all your stuff." And then what happened? The recording didn't work.
Child.
Yo,
The techno goblins.
yes, and you know what and if anything, that is a reference to how much the vibes are off in November because that conversation leads to this conversation. So I don't
That
know
was a
how
good
many.
intro.
Thank you, thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, Ace. First of all, Ace to your on the right of the screen to my left. There she is. She's wonderful. She's fantastic. Thank you for coming through.
Of course. Thanks for having me here. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we were just talking, and I've had this conversation with a few people. I have never had the sense of in all my life, and I know some people are going to be like, "Lucky you, motherfucker! Thanks for bragging." But I'll be honest with you, I've never had that vibe of like the seasonal depression thing because I guess I just for me it was just like, okay, the clocks change, it gets dark early, cool story, bro. Let's keep going, let's keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
And my buddy said to me once, I think that just has to do with the fact that like we're people of color, like the sun coming up at whatever time it comes up, cool, whatever. We have so much other shit to worry about that is not a thing.
Hello.
And not to dismiss seasonal depression for people of color, we do suffer from it. We all
Hmm.
suffer from it. But just saying that there are some of us who it probably, if anything, takes a little bit more to get through to us because of all the layers of insanity that as a community we deal with.
I
And much,
find it funny, like when you say that, because it reminds me, like oddly enough, of that song with Glorilla and Cardi B, and she goes, "Every day the sun don't shine, but that's what I love tomorrow." I
yeah,
find like ironically in the Black community, that's the attitude we have.
right.
And it's like you said, seasonal depression is a thing,
Yeah.
but for me personally, it didn't click that I had seasonal depression until I
Mm,
actually spoke with a professional and I was describing like you said, I was like, the vibes are not there. A
right.
girl is going through it and she's like, "Have you been feeling like this for a long time?" Cuz that's depression. And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that what that was? Oh,
Yeah.
shit."
Oh,
Right?
oh.
And like you said, in our minds, we're just like, well, okay, like every day the sun don't shine, but that's what I love tomorrow. But like the sun
Right.
isn't shining right now.
Right.
That's the seasonal depression.
Right. Good God, you hit that on the head. I honestly and I have and it's again one of the first times that I've felt this level of the vibes are not there. And I was and if anything, one of my buddies said to me, maybe it's the fact that for the last 2 years because we were at home during the pandemic,
Yeah.
you didn't feel the effects of it because you weren't going in and out of the office. You weren't really out there in the streets the same way. You were kind of home. So whenever the sun set, you were just like, whatever, I'm already dealing with a pandemic. You already had, again, another thing that
Yeah.
was probably putting you in a frame of mind of like, I don't even have to think about these other feelings I'm having because what
Yeah.
I'm feeling right now is probably linked to this major thing I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And then this year,
Exactly.
yeah, this year I'm in the streets. I go to work. We get to the office. I'm on the bus with all the other people coughing and everyone looking depressed. And you're just looking at all these faces, and half of them not wearing masks, half of them wearing masks. Me wearing my mask. Me looking out the window. Snow and rain, and leaving work sometimes at 4 o'clock in hopes of getting home
Yeah.
before the sun sets. Just because I'm like, I don't want to be outside when the sun's already
You
gone.
just want that sliver of like
Sliver.
sunset, that little like slice of
Yo,
sunset.
no joke. There was one day for anyone who's from Montreal, I was driving. on St. Patrick Street going, I guess west, and the sun is, and it's this beautiful sunset. You remember that day where the sky turned like a radiant pink
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
had like
Yeah.
the blues. It had all these colors, and I was driving home that day, and I'm watching the sunset, and I'm going, I gotta beat that sunset home. Like I was like, I was driving like I'm seeing the sky get dimmer and dimmer. I'm like, oh no, you don't, bitch. I'm like
Nope.
turning corners. Yeah, yeah,
Trying to like put turbo mode.
yeah.
Boom. You got rockets coming out the car. Niggas shooting down the block. But
I'm
it's
like,
like that though. Like that's me
yo,
in the winter. When I was with my grandmother, I was struggling during that time. I was doing everything in my power to be up by like
yeah,
6 in the morning. And I'm
yeah,
not the morning girl, but it's just
mm,
because I was like, I want as much of that sunshine pie,
right.
if that's what we're gonna call it, because that's all we got. It's so ghetto.
First time, and it's but for me again, this is the first time I'm feeling like this, so it's kind of this weird sense of, oh hey, this is what your friends have been describing to you for years, that you were you
Yeah.
and I never tried to dismiss anyone when they said it. I just always had a sense of like, I don't know what they're feeling, so I don't know how to make that feeling better for them. I don't know, is there anything I could
Yeah.
do? Is there anything? And most of the time my friends were just like, "Nah, man, it's just we can talk, we spend time. These little things will help make these days better." But it's like, it to all y'all out there who've been trying to make it clear to me how much this shit sucks. Your boy knows now.
Now you know. Now you know the feeling.
your boy, your boy got the message.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's also like one of the reasons too that I find why I enjoy content creation so much.
Yeah.
Like I had mentioned in the previous time we were podcasting, for me when I always grew up on the internet. I was a
Yeah.
little miss internet, little miss HTTP, okay,
Yeah.
double
Yeah.
dot slash slash, okay.
Let's do it. Let's
And
code.
I always enjoyed like everybody vlogs, right? But like the
Right.
content vloggers. That's why I
Mm.
would watch like I don't know, dudes into cars, girls into makeup, girls
Right.
into fashion. Like I just wanted to see anyone who's just skilled at what they do
Mhm.
film their process because it's just interesting.
Mhm.
And I started becoming open to creating content and just finding my niche when the pandemic started because that was the first time in forever. We're like five in my family.
Mm.
The only times all five people are at the house at once is during the mornings when we get ready for work or
Right.
during Christmas.
Mm.
And my
Man.
cousin even came to live with us because he was in school in the States. Even he came back. And so I was just like, bitch, this feels like Christmas break.
Yeah.
Those first 3 months was like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was just chilling with everybody. I was in everybody's room, like,
Oh,
what the kids into.
yeah.
And my little sister, she had been on TikTok before it was TikTok, it was Musically.
Right.
And she
Okay.
was like,
Yes.
you should get into that, like everyone's been telling me like you should make videos, you should make videos. And I have to give all credit to my social media presence to my little sister because
Dope.
she showed me what TikTok was. And I was like, this shit is kind of cool. And I was
Yeah.
like, so how does it work? And TikTok, for those who don't know, it's a very great app, but it's also very intimidating to people who are new to it
Right.
because it comes with a lot of tools that you can use independently.
Mm.
So it can be a bit scary. So she was the one like
I am
explaining
petrified of it. I will say that every
it's
time.
scary. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
scary, but let me tell you something. Like I use like 6 filters
Okay.
out of like the 500,000 available. So it's like I tell people it's like a computer, like an iPhone. Like the average person is probably using like what 40% of the function of an
True.
iPhone versus like an IT guy who
Yeah.
knows everything. And she was like, okay, so there's trends, there's the big creators, there's the hashtags. And I just got on it and I was like, at first I was like, damn, like I gotta catch up with the kids, like even
Right.
if they're just a few years younger than us. But then I
Well, in my
realized
case, they're a good number. Yeah.
a good number, a good little number, right?
A
But
full
then
teenager separating us, but that's
right,
cool. Yeah.
a generation and a half,
Yeah.
right? you know? And
Yeah.
then I was looking at this and I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna copy what others do that I like. I'm just gonna get
Right.
a feel. That's me when I'm like new job, new school. I'm just gonna get a feel. I'm gonna be me.
Yeah.
And it took off slowly during the start of the pandemic. I took a lot. I was just doing TikToks for gags and jokes. and uploading it onto my Instagram. And that's when my Instagram got a surge in followers from local people from here.
Okay.
I don't know a lot of people here. A lot of people don't know of me.
Mm,
They know me because I'm friends with Emmy, and Emmy is really in the scenes. She knows a lot of people. Same thing
right.
for Nikki. They're very in the media area of Montreal.
Yeah.
So no one ever knows of me. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm her friend. I'm her friend. They're like, oh, so that's who
Oh,
you are.
yeah. Yeah.
And that took off a lot. And I had a lot of fun because it was very, very, very niche. And it was the pandemic. Like you said, you're not going out.
No,
When
no.
I was downtown, all of my friends were downtown. So
Yeah.
after work, we would just go for walks, go
Mm,
for coffee. We would do jam sessions because everyone was already there. That was gone. And we were in
yeah.
the middle of like the lockdowns. No one was going out. No one was doing anything. Um, you clock in, you clock out, and you're still home.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of felt a surge of like, I kind of went back into 14-year-old me, like, what was it that I liked? What was it that I was passionate about? Like,
Yeah.
let's nerd out. Like, what are the girls doing? What are the guys doing? And it's last year again when I had moved out, and again, little miss seasonal depression, right?
Yeah.
Womp womp womp.
Yeah.
And because it really feels like that. You
Womp,
wake
womp,
up and
womp.
you're just like, what's the
Yeah.
meaning of life?
But
What
you
the
see
fuck is
those
this?
cartoons where people draw and they're just like it's like you in bed and then like this thing just like yeah, on your head
That little cloud on the head,
or
that's
something just like throws its
exactly.
arm over you like come on,
It was
snuggle
like
in.
womp, womp,
Yeah.
womp, womp. It felt like that. And again, I was just like, okay, you know what? I want to go harder at this because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I'm super passionate about and like I like to nerd in, but I keep that to myself just because I don't know, that's just like my habits. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm just going to be really open up in my passions online. And one day, there's this one girl, we're friends now. She was a creator, and I just loved her videos. She reminded me a lot of myself. She was like just a very well versed woman, very knowledgeable in what she does, but like authentically herself. She had made a video on a topic like on what I practice, what I study on Hoodoo. And this girl was hitting facts on
Yeah.
facts on facts. I was
Yeah.
like, is this what teachers feel like when they
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
an essay that makes sense? Because I was like, ooh, child.
Speaking to me.
I was like this. And so I had stitched her video and I was like, everything this woman said, this is that and the third. Let me add on to that. And my account blew up
Oh, dope.
because people were like, oh shit, you know of this too. Da, da, da. So then
Yeah.
people were asking me questions. I would reply. And then I quickly realized when it comes to people I know or people who are close to me, I do really enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
But what I love more than teaching is teaching through content creation.
Yeah.
And that's when I found my niche. There's this trend on TikTok called Adult Swim,
Okay.
and people were parodying it. And so what it was basically is like the opening scene was like, "Ooh, be careful of this, or don't do this, because that would happen." And
Okay.
then a plot twist would happen, and you would see the AS logo.
Okay.
So I did that, but with Hoodoo, and I
Oh,
wrote
dope.
Hoodoo Swim on the back, and then
Oh,
that
yes.
shit blew up. And it's because
Yo.
of that video that I labeled my TikTok as Hoodoo Swim, and I do videos like that. And when I tell you to be so fucking real with you, my best videos in terms of quality and storytelling and numbers have all happened at my lowest points
Oh, shit.
because I
Wow.
was deep in the creation. Like till this
Yeah.
day, when I look at every single one of my videos, that like in terms of like the writing, the storytelling, the disposition, the angles, even other people who are writers or content creators are like, I applaud you, young
Yeah,
lady.
like, they
Like that was
connected
pretty
with
good.
it. Yeah.
All of those, my lowest of lowest ghetto moments. So that's why
Wow.
to me, when it's ghetto outside, when it's like this,
Yeah.
I'm like, get the cameras, get the
Yeah, do
blogs,
the
get the
thing that
keyboard.
sparks, yeah.
Yep.
It's funny that you say that because an episode of the show that we did with Dan, my buddy Dan Ramos, who's living out in LA, he's a
Hmm.
comedian, and we talked about the fact that that whole culture in comedy, a lot of it comes with kind of trying to find the funny in the sad and the dark, and
Yes.
most comedians will say like, "Oh, we're broken people." Like,
Yeah.
there's something broken inside of us, and that's why we seek the validation here, and and sometimes I think about it, it's just like, yeah, it's not even just that you're broken, but there's that maybe that it's just that feeling of like, I'm feeling this kind of low right now,
Mhm.
but being creative will give me an outlet that might cheer me up. And then when people connect with the message that you're trying to create when you feel low, then you start to realize like, okay, other people feel like this sometimes too, or
Yeah.
other people want to just seek the knowledge that I'm putting out there, which kind of it gives you that boost. And a running theme through the dumbest timeline has been that the internet's a kind of evil place. And one of the episodes, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the TikTok episode, but it
Yeah.
ends specifically with someone being like, "The world's ending. We might as well go down in flames, laughing and having fun."
That's
And
literally Twitter. Like,
I, right, and that's
right?
the most accurate thing right now. Like you're watching Twitter, you're watching TikTok, and things feel kind of bleak. And like I was saying, no, the vibes are not there for November for me. But at the same time, you're kind of just like these are some of the most creative times I've seen for some people. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's insane. It's really that. And that's why I love it. Like, content creation, storytelling, like, one thing I've learned is there's really a lot of levels to content creation,
Mhm,
um, that people don't understand. There's being like a public, like, you can be good at public speaking, but not
mhm.
necessarily writing. Then you can be skilled at writing, but not public speaking.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
same thing for singers. When you see a singer dance and sing, that's not the standard of a singer. That's
Right,
impressive.
right.
Singers that can't dance, that's fine. I just need you to sing. When you see
Yeah,
people like Beyonce, Michael Jackson, or Britney Spears, that's
yeah.
impressive. So I tell people, when we say get into content creation, I'm
Mhm.
not saying get a mic and a camera and vlog, because a lot
Right.
of people aren't comfortable with that. Some people like kind of staying behind the shadows, and that's
Sure.
totally fine. When
Yeah.
I say get into content creation, it's go create.
Mhm.
Do you want to be an independent fashion designer? Get an iPad, get a pencil, get a sketchbook, go to the dollar store, sketch some designs. You're a storyteller, write. Get your
Right.
phone. You don't have a phone, get a piece of paper and a pen. You're a
Yeah.
visual artist. Go get your sister's magazines. Cut out everything and create a visual storyboard. You're a mechanic. You like computers, you code. I don't care. Build a computer from scratch. What we're saying is if you like to create content, you got to do it. And the reason why I say this is because what I do now is very niche. And in my writing and storytelling, I am quite skilled where I am right now.
Mhm.
But I'm that as of right now. I wasn't that 2 years ago. But
Right.
me of 2 years ago, who was unskilled, who was like a newborn deer flailing around and falling, it's because of her that I'm
Yeah.
here. If I would have waited till now, I'd be so far behind.
Right.
So, and we know this as creatives, but we keep having to tell each other to stop waiting till you're ready. You'll be
Right.
ready when your painting is done and it's being sold at the auction. If you
Right.
wait for the auction to be open, everyone's paintings are getting sold. It's too
Yeah.
late for you to go get your easel
Yeah,
and your
yeah,
paintbrush. It's too late.
yeah,
Niggas
yeah.
already, child, the whole museum is shut
And
down.
and I feel like that's
Hello.
an important thing to remind people that one, just create. Do it and find the thing that makes you happy in doing it or the
Yeah.
outlet that you need. And two, do your best to not compare yourself to others. That's one thing that
Uh,
I regularly I've seen people that I know are some of the most creative people, and they're comparing themselves to people who, like you were saying, the you from 2 years ago and the you right now. If the you from 2 years ago saw a version of you right now, but like doesn't know it's them, and it's just like, "Oh, she's so good."
she would have been
She's
so
so
discouraged.
exactly,
So discouraged.
yeah, and that's one of the things I tell some of the people that I've worked with, like, "Hey, yes, this person did this, this, and this, and they're working through this platform, and they've made this connection, and they've networked with these people, and I think that's great. Guess what? You could get there, you just
Yeah.
have to go through similar steps. They didn't get there by just jumping and being there, and sometimes you think that's what they did because they don't necessarily show people the path they took. Sometimes some people don't like necessarily having that history there. You might not see it. They might take down all
Yeah.
their old TikToks. They might take down all their old Instagram and all that stuff. And all you're seeing is like just the success. And
Yeah.
I was at Just for Laughs this year, and some of the they had a whole panel with the content creators, mostly comedic content creators, and they were talking about what's it like when you have, you put in the most work, but it's the video that got the least views. and almost all of them were just like, yeah, there's a good chance I'm going to take that video down. Even if I did all that work, if I'm seeing that that video is not connecting with people, I might just take it down instead of showing people, hey, this video that I put that much work in that didn't necessarily connect with all
Yep.
y'all, I still put in the work and I should still
Yep.
leave it there for you to understand this is what can happen sometimes. Sometimes there's highs, sometimes there's lows. But
Yep.
instead they pulled that because it hurts. You know, one of them full on said, like, I don't like the way it makes my ego feel to see that that video that I put so much of myself in didn't
Yeah.
do as well as these other videos where, you know, this is one that I didn't even feel like I tried, and that's the one that connected the most with people. And then people see those videos and they're just like, God, they must have put so much work into that one. And
Yeah.
they think that it's so flawless and easy. And it's like, nah, man, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of going through stuff. So,
And you know what? That part is a trap too. I learned
mhm,
this so quick. I feel like that's the golden rule. Like if I was a mentor to someone, I would say the golden rule is always judge your standard of work by your standard of work.
mm,
Everything I do, when I'm done writing a story or filming a video, I'm just like, whether this gets a million views or not a single view, are you proud to put this out?
right,
Yes, that's it.
right.
And the reason why I say this is they're like my favorite example to give is one, TikTok and its algorithm, it will blow up a video that was 2 years old. So if you don't
Mhm.
get, if this is not, honey, this is not YouTube 2014,
Yeah.
just because your video got 100 views, don't take it down, please. That shit
Right.
could blow up tomorrow.
Right.
Two, my favorite example to give is there are some Japanese city pop artists. Back in their time, they would have just been called like pop artists in Japan,
Yeah.
where during their time, they weren't, they were known,
Mhm.
but they were making pop at that time. They were
Right.
just any old pop artists. There are several Japanese pop artists that of as of now, their streams and their income blew up through the fucking roof because of this generation's adoration for Japanese city pop.
Oh,
So
cool.
imagine what would have happened if during their time they're
They
just
just
like, damn, everyone's making Japanese like it wasn't even considered that. It's just like
right.
everyone here in Japan's making pop. I'm no different. Let me
Yeah.
delete my whole catalog. Where like you will find hours and hours and hours and hours of Japanese city pop compilations, and
Yeah.
it's always the same 5 artists that are on there. And they
Wow.
weren't well known when they started. So I always use that as an example.
Yeah.
Your shit, it's the same thing for Mean Girls. When Mean Girls came out, they called Mean Girls a slow burn because when it
Yeah.
came out,
Yeah.
it was an iconic. That
Yeah.
shit is iconic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Always post your shit because you like it.
yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had people ask me like, "Oh, how do you like doing podcasts? Like, you know, how many views, how many this, advertisers, all that stuff." I'm like, "Listen, man, I started broadcasting when I was 17. I was doing it at John Abbott College in a small room to maybe 5 people because the cafeteria down the hall disconnected the mics, disconnected the speaker, sorry, and people could only hear it in like very small areas. But you know what was super fun? Every time one person would come up to me and be like, "Yo, are you the guy that had people talking about their first kiss on your radio show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." That was like, yeah, they're just like, "That
Yep.
shit was hilarious." And they're
Yep.
like, and then it's like, then my friends and I started telling each other our first kiss stories. And I was just like, cool. And then just knowing that you have that small effect that equals like just a little ripple. And that little
Yep.
ripple gets bigger and bigger and, and keeps going. And that's so much fun. So yeah,
Yep.
those 5 artists that you're talking about who are just, you know, they thought they were just like, okay, we're just making this music, whatever, we'll see what happens from that. And now there's like a whole resurgence in the popularity. It's like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
40 years later, like this, they would have came out in the 80s. It's
Hot
like we're in
damn.
the 2020s. 40 years.
Oh my God. That's crazy. That's dope though. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
This honestly, yeah. Ace, I want to thank you so much because this conversation is fantastic.
It was fun for real.
The whole idea was supposed to be like, I wasn't even sure exactly where we were going to go with it, but I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, for the dumbest timeline, because I say it every week, this isn't the darkest timeline, it's just the dumbest one. Sometimes the darkness does come through a little bit in the dumb. You know, sometimes you have periods where you're going to feel not as great or not as sunny as you could. and that's just normal, and we will all get through it. And if anything, this podcast can be a space where you hear us talk about how much it affected us, and just
Yep.
through that, just through hearing other people admit like, oh shit, me who's never felt it before finally gets it. And to all y'all out there who've been dealing with it and been telling me like, yeah, this shit ain't fun, I hear you.
Right?
And send me your suggestions. If you're watching this
Right?
and you're someone who's done this every year and you've been telling me for a while like, this is how I'm dealing with it, yeah, send them suggestions, and we will all, and you know what, we might create together, and we might talk together, and we might,
Exactly.
and from whatever it may be, whatever comes of it, it'll just give us something to do that'll pass the time and make us happy. And that's the experience. Ace, thank you so much. Where can people find all your stuff?
Yes. So my handles, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My handle is hip hop and hoodoo, HOODOO. I'm also blogging on Tumblr. I really feel like a
Yes.
bad bitch because I really do articles, and that my Tumblr handle is melanated angels.
So
So yeah.
I'll share all that. Thank you so much. This has been a blast. I really appreciate you coming through a
Thank
second time.
you.
Uh,
This was lit for real.
this was fun. This is fun. I'm gonna have you come
It
back.
was.
And to everyone who's watching this, again, not the darkest timeline, just the dumbest one. And we will get through this together. Peace, everybody.